Today was the last day in La Paz, Mexico, on this trip, and we were really hoping for something grand. And we had a 10:30 start this morning, kind of late because the winds. We knew the winds were going to be pretty bad this morning, so we started late so that we didn't have rough seas. And the pilot wasn't taking off until 12:30, so we, went through the bay, went out of the bay, went into the open water, and kind of was waiting for the pilot. And the pilot found some sperm whales. So we were so excited. We motored to where they were, and I think he said there was 3. And we got there and we saw one, and he or she was just like resting on top of the water. And so we got close to him, not close, but close to him. And the first group jumped in. Unfortunately, that wasn't my group. And they got in the water with them. And I am so mad. I think I made the wrong decision when I said yesterday about I am going to take my medicine and that it would be better to not be fully alert and aware than be motion sick. Well, I wasn't alert and aware, and I thought I was filming the other 4 in the water with the sperm whale, but I didn't push play. So I didn't get it. And the sperm whale, when they got in the water, and they got in far enough away and they were swimming very slowly towards it to not disturb him, but he was just taking some breaths before he dove down. And so you could just see him hump like this, and man, he was huge. And then he kind of flattened out, and then he went up again, tail up, and straight down into the water. And we were like, oh my God, did you get it? And they said that the water was not very clear. The visibility wasn't that great. So it really didn't get to see him. I think we had a better view of him from up top than they got from below, which I'm really bummed for them. So then we got ready, and we're sitting and we're waiting for him to come up. And I don't know if it was that one that came up or a different one, but unfortunately this guy wasn't resting. So we were sitting on the edge of the boat, feet up, so we don't lose another flipper, feet up, and we're ready. And then, he's up on the surface, and then he's kind of down, and we're like, where'd he go? And then he's up, but he was moving. So we did not get to jump. And then tail up, and he went down. And then a few minutes later, he was back up, and then tail vertical, down. We waited. We had lunch. We waited. And then they finally called it, and they said he could be miles away. We did not see another spout at all. So they're like, okay. There was a call for a really big, and I don't know what to call it Mobula Ray group. And I was like, I'll be honest. I was like, oh man, we've seen Mobula Rays every day. Yeah, they're cool, but that's not why I came here. So I was like, all right, fine. We're leaving the sperm whales to go see Mobula Rays. So we weren't leaving the sperm whales. The sperm whales left. We didn't know where they were. So we motored quite a ways to the Mobula Rays. And man, when we got there, it was like popcorn. Push. They were just jumping. And so the few of us who had regular cameras got our cameras out. We were shooting the Mobula Rays, jumping out of the water like popcorn. Of course, by the time I got my wetsuit off and my shoes, my flippers off and everything, because I kept my flippers on the whole time because they're so hard for me to get on and off. So took all that off, and by the time I got my camera, the popcorning had slowed down quite a bit. But it was cool because there wasn't a lot of swells today. So it was fairly flat. I tried to do video, but even though it was fairly flat, there was a lot of this going on. So I haven't had a chance to look at the pictures yet while I'm recording the audio portion. And then a couple of the people who didn't have above ground cameras, they jumped in and they were like, oh my gosh, they're right up on the surface. They're right here. It's so cool. So the rest of us got back our wetsuits back on, or they never really came off. They were just at the waist, sticking their arms through, getting dressed. jumped in the water, and it was really cool. It was really, really cool. There were so many of them, and they were up in the light, and it was great. And I hope my footage turned out really good. And by the time you're seeing this, there will be, if it turned out decent, there'll be footage with this video. I'm just recording the audio right now before seeing any of it. And then we stayed with them for quite a while, and by now it was after 5 in the evening, and then we got a call that there was a super pod of dolphins in the bay. So we went hightailing it into the bay, because by now, you know, the Mobulas, they were still jumping. It wasn't like before. So we're like, okay, let's get the pod of dolphins in the sunset. So we raced over there, and it was far, and we got there, and there was a lot of dolphins. And the sun was still decent high, but it was coming down fast. And so we were watching the dolphins, and they were bow riding, and they weren't really jumping out of the water. They were just more, you know, kind of snorkeling. And but it was so cool to see them, and we did spend the sunset with them. And then we were still far away from the beach where we had to land, and so we were hightailing it back, and it got a little chilly. I'll be honest, it got a little cold. Got back to the beach, got everything packed up. It was our last day, so everything had to come out of the boat, get everything loaded into the van, drive back. Whew. Take a quick shower, dinner, and now I just have a mess because I have to pack, and tomorrow I go home. So that was it for day 6. We saw 6 different kinds of whales. We saw a fin whale, we saw a blue whale, we saw pilot whale, we saw false killer whales, we saw sperm whales, and we saw humpback whales. So 6 kinds of whales. We saw sea lions, we saw common dolphins, we saw bottlenose dolphins, we saw the Mobula Rays, lots of different birds. So we didn't get into the water with everything, but it was such an amazing experience here. And so that's my day. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you also had a fabulous, fabulous day. Bye now.